that seems so crazy to think there's not a list.
That's what Jimmy said. He's a tinfoil hat guy.
There's a lady in jail. Like, there has to be some sort of financial entanglement, some sort of relationship with the people that are on that list.
Yeah.
That they can provide a value that was big enough for you to not release it, or to slow release it, or to hope you can get away with, like, putting out some redacted files that don't show anything.
Yeah.
This is only
a whole bunch
stage
of
one.
Redacted.
Only stage one. Don't worry. The real stuff's coming. Like, that doesn't make any sense. Like, why wouldn't you just release it all? Like, what could possibly be worth protecting in there?
I mean, I think I've got probably the same information that, I mean, I'm just reading what's the latest thing on the,
Joe Rogan and Elon Musk just cracked the door open, and what spilled out got the elite sweating. After them Epstein files dropped, it ain't just Diddy getting side-eyed anymore. Word is, more celebs went quiet overnight, deleting, unfollowing, ducking the light. And now, Rogan and Elon are hinting at who's really hiding and why. But before we get into that, let's rewind real quick so we get a backdrop of all that's happening. On January 30th, the Department of Justice cracked the vault open and dumped a nuclear load on the internet. Over 3 million pages of Epstein-related documents, hundreds of thousands of images, and thousands of videos.
To all of them. Today we are producing more than 3 million pages, including more than 2,000 videos and 180,000 images. In total, that means that the department produced approximately 3.5 million pages in compliance with the act.
After years of blueballing the public with redactions and half-truths, they finally gave folks something to chew on. Not the whole meal, but enough crumbs to spark panic across elite circles. And almost instantly, you could feel the shift. Names that used to move freely suddenly went quiet. Accounts started deleting posts. Corporations started unfollowing people they once celebrated. Power players who used to stand tall began ducking out of sight. Because when that kind of paperwork drops, it's not just about whose name, but who might be next. Now, the first name circling the block, Bill Gates. For years, Bill's name has hovered around Epstein like smoke that never quite cleared. Back then, the story was always the same. Business dinners, philanthropy talk, nothing inappropriate. That was the official line. But the newly surfaced documents paint a messier picture. According to what's coming out, Bill wasn't just casually acquainted. There are claims that he stayed in contact with Epstein even after Epstein's conviction. Worse, leaked drafts and internal notes suggest Epstein believed he had leverage over Bill. Not just social leverage, medical leverage. Alleged communications hint at Epstein helping cover up a possible STD situation tied to Bill's personal life, including talk of antibiotics and secrecy.
Allegations about Gates. Within one email, Epstein claimed he helped, quote, get drugs in order to deal with the consequences of sex with Russian girls and set up illicit trysts with married women. The email also references Gates asking Epstein to provide Adderall for bridge tournaments. One draft email alleges that Gates tearfully asked Epstein to delete messages referencing an STD, writing, "Your request that I provide you antibiotics that you surreptitiously give to Melinda." It also says Gates asked him to delete explicit personal details about his. Now, a representative for Gates.
That alone made folks sit up straight. Now, remember back in 2024, during election campaigns, when Elon Musk was loud about Bill Gates refusing to support Trump and instead leaning toward Kamala. Elon straight up implied Bill was scared that Trump would make the Epstein list public once back in office.
I think part of why Kamala's getting so much support is that if Trump wins, that Epstein client list is going to become public. And some of those billionaires behind Kamala are terrified of that outcome.
Yeah. Do you think Reid Hoffman's uncomfortable?
Yes.
Yeah.
And Gates.
At the time, people laughed it off as billionaire beef. Fast forward to now, and people saying Bill's worst nightmare is unfolding in real time. Bill, of course, denies all of it. He's been consistent for years, saying he regrets ever knowing Epstein, regrets ever being in the same space, claims he didn't know Epstein was a predator like that, says he cut ties once he realized who Epstein really was.
Apparently, Jeffrey wrote an email to himself. That email was never sent. The email is, false. So I don't know what his thinking was there. It just reminds me, every minute I spent with him, I regret and I, apologize that I did that. It's factually true that I was only at dinners. I never went to the island. I never met any women. And so, the more that comes out, the more clear it'll be that although the time was a mistake, had nothing to do with that kind of behavior.
But here's where it gets interesting. Melinda Gates didn't exactly ride with that story. After the list release, she made comments that raised eyebrows, saying she was relieved to be out of that circle, relieved to no longer be associated with Bill. Folks read between the lines and said, that doesn't sound like someone who believes nothing shady happened. It sounds like someone who saw enough to walk away.
I think we're having a reckoning as a society, right? No girl should ever be put in the situation that they were put in by Epstein and whatever was going on with all of the various people around him. No girl. I mean, it's beyond heartbreaking, right? I remember being those ages those girls were. I remember my daughters being those ages, right? So, for me, it's personally hard whenever those details come up, right? Because brings back memories of some very, very painful times in my marriage, but I have moved on from that. I purposely pushed it away and I moved on. I'm in a really unexpected, beautiful place in my life. So whatever questions remain there of what I can't even begin to know all of it, those questions are for those people and for even my ex-husband. They need to answer to those things, not me.
Well,
and I am so happy to be away from all the muck.
And the next name on that list, believe it or not, Prince Andrew. Royal blood, crown protection, and still couldn't dodge the fallout. Andrew's been tangled in Epstein's mess for years, but these files dragged everything back into daylight. Old photos resurfaced, including one that made people sick to their stomachs. Andrew on all fours in a situation that can't even be described here. The implications alone were enough. His association with Epstein was no longer deniable. Private meetings, young girls, shady favors. And just like that, the palace had to move. Titles stripped, military honors gone, evicted from royal property. The crown basically said, you're on your own. No shocker there. Andrew was always considered expendable. But while names like Bill Gates and Prince Andrew felt expected, some of the names buried in those files hit different. Next up, the name spinning through the mix, Jay-Z. For years, industry whispers followed him. Rumors people were scared to say out loud. Then the files dropped, and suddenly his name is sitting in FBI national threat logs tied to Epstein-era complaints. One report claims a woman told the FBI she woke up in an Epstein-owned mansion and identified Jay-Z as being present alongside other powerful figures. Now, let's be clear, Jay-Z's name didn't come from Epstein's personal black book. It didn't come from flight logs either. According to the DOJ, it came from an unverified tip submitted to the FBI, part of a massive data release under the Epstein Files Transparency Act, meaning yes, some accusations could be false, exaggerated, or planted. But here's the thing, just because it's a tip doesn't make it meaningless. And the street remembers for years, Kanye was screaming about industry control, handlers, gatekeepers, and powerful couples pulling strings behind the scenes. He named names, Jay, Beyonce, called them pawns and players in something darker.
They can't control you, they can't, they try to suppress you, but that's how they try to categorize
They
you.
can't control me. You get what I'm saying? They can control Shaq. They can control Charles Barkley. They can control LeBron James. They can control Jay-Z and Beyonce.
But not you, man.
But they can't control me. You
Not
see, it
you.
ain't no name I won't name.
He even said Jay and another rapper, who now happened to be named in the Epstein files, Pusha T, were involved in some criminal stuff that could get them arrested.
If you take people like Jay-Z and Pusha T, they made their living killing our people. So how the fuck they gonna stand up for our people? You know what I'm saying? But we forget that because we love Jay-Z's music so much. We love Pusha's music so much, right? But you think they would ever, Beyonce had the best fit for somebody else?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You think they would ever tell the truth? No, if they told the truth, I think they'd go to jail. You know what I'm saying? So you have liars.
Man.
Liars are now the face of our culture.
At the time, no one took him serious, said he crazy, and lost it. But now folks going back and saying maybe he wasn't spiraling, maybe he was warning, because this isn't the first time Jay's name showed up in something ugly. Back in 2024, he and Diddy were both tied to a civil suit involving an alleged essay of a 13-year-old. That case got dismissed, but the stain never fully washed out. So now people asking uncomfortable questions. Was Jay just brushing shoulders with Epstein, or was he deeper than he ever admitted? Was Beyonce right there with him, seeing things, knowing things? Were they on that island? Did they witness stuff that regular people wouldn't survive knowing? Nobody has proof like that yet, but the silence is loud. Then there's the next name folks been arguing about nonstop, Donald Trump. Trump and Epstein ran in the same social circles for years. Same parties, same rich guy playgrounds. That's not new. What is new is how the files handle Trump. For years, people said Trump would release the Epstein files once elected. Elon Musk campaigned hard for Trump and was loud about transparency.
I think part of why Kamala's getting so much support is that if Trump wins, that Epstein client list is going to become public.
Yes.
And some of those billionaires behind Kamala are terrified of that outcome.
If you were president, would you declassify, you can answer yes or no to these, would you declassify the 9/11 files?
Yeah.
Would you declassify JFK files?
Yeah.
Would you,
I did a lot of it.
Would you declassify the Epstein files?
Yeah, I would.
All right.
I guess I would. I think that less so because, you don't know. You don't want to affect people's lives if it's phony stuff in there because there's a lot of phony stuff with that whole world. But I think I would, or at least
Do you think that would restore trust? Help restore trust?
Yeah, I don't know about Epstein so much as I do the others.
But time passed and nothing dropped. Folks started side-eyeing, saying Trump might be hesitant because his own name was tied up in there deeper than people thought. Now the files finally dropped and Trump's connection looks light. Very little direct evidence. Mentions here and there, no smoking gun. And the streets are not buying it. They saying, no way Trump moved in those circles for that long and came out clean. No way files that big don't have more dirt unless somebody scrubbed it. People believe the DOJ protected something or someone. One user wrote, every time he tries to deny that he's in the list, more evidence comes out against him. Another said, friends find friends like themselves and into same debauchery. Next up, another name popping up now is Bill Clinton. Clinton's connection to Epstein has always been heavy. Multiple flights, photos, testimonies, allegations that he stayed in Epstein's orbit even after Epstein's 2008 conviction. Some files suggest investigators questioned Epstein directly about Clinton's involvement with young women.
Bill Clinton is obviously not going to be escaping these Epstein files at all because we know most of what released yesterday had a lot of pictures of Bill Clinton with Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell.
Clinton's camp denies everything, but unlike Trump, his trail is long, documented, and uncomfortable. Now, another name circling the block, Naomi Campbell, and it ain't even a shocker. Naomi's been connected to Epstein for years. Allegations say she wasn't just attending, she was allegedly recruiting, acting like a madam, promising modeling opportunities, introducing young girls to powerful men, NDAs, silence. Some say she played a role similar to Ghislaine Maxwell, helping keep the pipeline flowing. Naomi denies knowing about activity, says she was unaware of Epstein's crimes, but critics say her body language, her interviews, the way she dodges questions don't sit right.
Focus on the negative and say this is a vanity charity. There's no vanity about it.
Do you think it's fair to draw you into the Charles Taylor story when you were only a witness? After all, the picture they used clearly shows someone cropped from it. Presume that was President Mandela?
Yes, I do think it's unfair. For me, it's a distorted piece of journalism, and I do love great journalism, but this is a direct character assassination, and it belongs in like an Orwell book.
One dude hit hard saying she worked with Save the Children, the same one that just lost 25% of his income over essay allegations. Good cover, nay. Another wrote, she's lying, too fidgety, she knew all. And this is where the story gets bigger than individual names, because what the Epstein files really exposed isn't just predators. It exposed a system. Handlers, protectors, sacrificial lambs. Redactions are still hiding thousands of names, while the DOJ hands the public celebrities and billionaires to argue over, the biggest fish stay buried under black ink. So now the questions hit harder than ever. Why were these files released now? Who decided which names to expose and which to protect? Why are some elites getting dragged while others come out spotless? Drop your thoughts in the comments, because the files are out, the panic is real, and the truth is still ain't fully told. And don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for the latest scoop and celebrity drama.